My dear viewers, I have seen that lots of you are interested in the topic of repainting. So I would like to give you an answer to the question, where to start this week. I'm Busy Bee from Germany. I'm a long-time Barbie collector and a Barbie dog for almost 10 years. This channel is more than your one-stop Barbie repair workshop. I want to cover several topics in this video. Should you rather use a normal palette or maybe a wet palette? What is a wet palette? A wet palette is something very useful for Barbie repaints. It's a little box with a kind of sponge under our painting paper. That's the paper you paint on, and you wet the sponge here and put the piece of paper over it, and this is a kind of special paper where you can mix your colors, and this wet palette has the big advantage that your color does not dry out immediately in comparison to my normal palette. I had the problem at first that my colors dried much faster than I wanted them, and this was really helpful when the wet palette came. I saw it in a video and they explained that they used it for miniature painting, and I saw it and I thought, this could also work for Barbie, and I ordered one, and that's my little wet palette here. And that's really helpful even when you are repainting Barbie dolls, when you are doing Barbie artwork. You can change the paper. Mine is of course used here, so for the next project I'm going to take a new piece of paper. But for the palette, I would definitely recommend a wet palette because it's so much easier to paint with a wet palette than with a normal palette because of the drying speed. So for the paint, you can use Liquitex, the cadmium-free colors, because you don't want them to bleed into your doll's face. I also have here another Liquitex color. It's a basic color from Liquitex. I have several more colors than the one you see here from Liquitex. I ordered them last year, but I have not painted with them because repainting projects are always time consuming and I had no dolls to use them on in the last month. That's at least what I have here concerning colors. I have some more colors here in my box. Let me show you. No, this is not paid advertisement. I don't get any fees from them to show these colors, but Ketzake is one of the few stores that has the original colors used on Barbie. That's why I have them here. And I would like to show you in the next minute how to do a little bit of color care, because we want them to stay intact as long as possible because they are expensive to import. I can recommend you for the color care is to use normal water. That's water in my glass. Then we have here bamboo sticks, just plain bamboo sticks that you get in every supermarket. I cut them into little pieces here. I have cut a lot of these little pieces here. They are laying here around. And to do the color care, it's very, very easy. You open the jar. You drip in some drips of water, and then you use one of your tiny sticks and you just simply make it a little bit fluid again, because you have to move them every now and then to keep them liquid. I recommend at least once a year. You can also do it once within every 6 months. But I admit I have forgotten it last year totally. So you can make sure that your color stays intact, it dries not away. You don't have to spend a lot of money to make your repaint. So let's throw this away, and then you can screw the lid back on. And that's what we basically do as color care. For uncooperative glasses, we have here our pair of pliers, and you simply use them to get your jar open. So this is sometimes very helpful when you know how to. She could use some more water here. And now this jar is also ready. I also have some bonus advice how to not do it. This here is the first ever repaint I did, and I must admit, from my point of view today, it's just awful, because I used way too much color for the repaint. I have not thinned it out. I did not knew about any wet palette when I did this. It was also the problem with the paint that started to dry too quickly, and I did not thin it out, so that's my very first repaint, and I'm not really proud of it because it's looking awful somehow. But the problem with her is that she has an oily face, and it's not so easy to just simply to repaint her. What I would recommend, however, is starting with little projects, like with the eyebrow. You see the right eyebrow of him has a very decent shine, and it was partly missing when I did this. Hardly to see, but I can recommend you start with small project like missing eyebrows or missing eyelids. Easy things. She had also a problem with her eyebrow. I also did a little repaint here. I don't know if you can see it. It had a missing of the eyebrow. The back part of it was missing, and I repainted it very, very carefully. I don't have the answer for you which paintbrush to use for your project, but I can recommend you several things, and that is a good brush. At least it's important that you buy a good brush, but you only yourself can decide which paintbrush is the correct one for you. I have some very unusual paintbrushes. You can see this one is bent a little bit. I hope you can see it. It's a very, very fine brush, and I also have triangular ones. Let me show you. So these are triangular and not round. Sometimes it's very pleasant to touch them because it's sometimes a better grip for your hands depending on the project you are doing. From the number you need, I would say it should be under 0. So this is a paintbrush I bought many years in a hardware store. You can see that's a 00. Also a very fine brush, but there are even smaller ones. But it always depends on the trademark that you buy. Mine here are mainly from Da Vinci. I also have other paint brushes, so I can't give you an exact answer which one is the correct one for you. I can only tell you to try it. Try out what's the correct one for you. So I have here, for example, -15. Hope you can see it. It's a very, very thin brush, but it's always depending on the producers. They have different brush sizes. This one is a -10 and it's much thinner than the -15 we just had here in comparison. I hope you can see it. So it's always depending on the producer, how many hairs you get in your paintbrush. But I also can recommend you just to try it. What's comfortable for you, what not. If you are a right-hander or a left-hander, it doesn't matter. What I like on the Da Vinci paintbrushes is that they have here a thicker part and here a thinner part, so it's easier to hold them. And in my opinion, they have a very good grip when you work with them. I also have here the cleaning soap for my brushes. When you have ruined your brush, you can often save them with a little bit of cleaning soap for your brushes, and you can of course clean them with this soap, as the cleaning soap says. I don't know if my brushes are available outside from Germany, but I have bought a lot of Da Vinci paintbrushes in the last years, and I must say I'm satisfied with them. But I also have several other brushes. Just wait. We forgot something. I told you about my cleaning soap for brushes and I forgot to show you how to use it. So that's very easy. You take a little bit of water on your brush, then you rub it on the soap, that you get a little bit of the soap in your brush. And when the hairs are pointing in any direction you don't want them to, you simply can you form them by your hand with rubbing over the soap. Maybe you need a little bit more water. Sometimes you need a little bit more water to create a little bit of foam. When we have foam, it's much easier. You can form the brush head again. So this is not going anywhere anymore, and then you let the soap dry in the brush, in the paintbrush. And then your paintbrush should be okay again, and then you can rescue a lot of expensive paintbrushes if you have them. But it's also working for normal brushes. So you can save a lot of money with this trick. I hope this is helpful for you. My dear viewers, I hope you understand the basics of repainting now. I hope that you now know what to buy when you want to do a repaint. I showed you my colors, I showed you my brushes. I hope you have learned something in this short episode of what to use for repainting. Question of the day is, have you ever done a repaint? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you like my little video. You share, like and subscribe. See you in the next weeks. Your Busy Bee from Germany. Bye!